Good morning. Basan tayo ating libro, guys. Yung kapwa ko Filipino dyan, open nyo na yung inyong libro na History of the Filipino People by Agoncillo and Guerrero. Today is December 10, 2022. History of the Filipino People. Nasa part 3 pa rin tayo. Reform and Revolution. Topic number 8. The Campaign for Reforms. Nandito tayo sa The Great Reformist sa paragraph Jose Rizal. Basa. Jose Rizal, the most cultured of the reformists, was born in Calamba, Laguna on June 19, 1861, the son of Francisco Mercado and Teodora Alonso. A precocious child, he was alleged to have written a Tagalog poem at the age of 8 and entitled it sa Aking Kabata, a poem that teaches love of one's own language. Having secured his preliminary education under a private tutor at Binyang, Rizal was sent to Manila to continue his studies. He enrolled at the Ateneo Municipal operated by the Jesuits, and there he learned not only poetry, mathematics, and rhetoric, but also painting and sculpture. Even as a boy, he had already learned from observation and experienced the difficulties that attended the daily life of the people. His mother became a victim of gross injustice and was imprisoned. This sad event deeply affected Rizal, who determined to work for the welfare of his country. Yung mother niya nakulong. At 18, he won first prize in a literary contest in which the supposedly superior Spaniards participated. His work was entitled A la Juventud Filipina. Later, his allegorical play El Consejo de los Dioses was adjudged the best entry in a contest, but he was not awarded first prize simply because he was a Filipino. He studied for a time at the University of Santo Tomas, but in 1882, at the age of 21, he left for Spain. He studied medicine, read maths on many subjects not included in the medical curriculum, and mastered several languages including French and German. Now far from his country, he looked across the seas to find its strength as well as its weaknesses. And at the age of 26, he finished his novel No Limitang Heri. This is a socio-historical novel based on facts that he gathered while in the Philippines. The book is a novel only in the sense that the technique employed by the author is that of fiction. It is a mistake to suppose that because it was written in novel form, it is therefore fiction. Rizal himself made this clear when, in a letter to the great Filipino painter Felix Resurrection Hidalgo, he said, "No limitang Heri words taken from the Gospel of St. Luke signify do not touch me. The book contains things of which no one among ourselves has spoken up to present. They are so delicate that they cannot be touched by anybody, and so far as I am concerned, I have tried to do what nobody likes to do. I have endeavored to answer the calumnies which for centuries had been heaped on us and our country. I have described the social condition, the life, our beliefs, our hopes, our desires, our grievances, our graves. I have unmasked hypocrisy which under the guise of religion came to impoverish and to brutalize us. I have distinguished the true religion from the false, from superstition, from that which traffics with the holy word to extract money, to make us believe in sorcery, of which Catholicism would be ashamed if it were aware of it. The facts I narrate are all true. and actually happened. I can prove them. Underscoring supply. The novel gained immediate popularity, but only a limited number of copies entered the Philippines. For the Spanish authorities, particularly the friars, whom Rizal ridiculed, and the novel prohibited its reading. Anybody caught reading it was punished severely. The effect of the book on the Spaniards in the Philippines was tremendous, for in it they found their unflattering images, all their defects, their ignorance, their immorality, their bogus culture, and their vices were faithfully mirrored in the novel. As Dr. Trinidad Espardo de Tavera, a Spaniard born in the Philippines, said, all the defects of the public administration of affairs, the ignorance of the functionaries and their corruption, the vices of the clergy, the incapacity of the governors. Wait lang yung heater. I-on ko lang ulit. Ang lamig kasi. Sinisip na tayo sa lamig. Ulit guys. All the defects of the public administration of affairs, the ignorance of the functionaries and their corruption, the vices of the clergy, the incapacity of the governors, and the inferiority of Spanish culture in these islands were made manifest. The prestige which the friars had enjoyed, and which was based only on the ignorance of the masses, crumbled away when the private lives of the members of the religious orders in the provinces were described in the pages of Rizal's book, and the immorality and the viciousness of the friars were exposed to the public view. The defects in the system of education pursued in the colleges and in the Filipino University were also exposed, and the evil results of the teachings were fingered out. So vividly were the defects in the Spanish colonial administration described that the entire structure tottered, and the prestige with the Spanish civilization and the islands had attained up to that time in the minds of the Filipinos was completely discredited. The book was attacked in all quarters of the Spanish community in the Philippines. Father Jose Rodriguez is already intimidated, issued his pamphlet Kaingat Kayo, which warned the Filipinos against reading the Noli in 1889. Rizal published his answer to Father Rodriguez in the pamphlet La Vision de Father Rodriguez, a brilliant satire in which Rizal exposed the ignorance of the friar. The result of all his writings was to antagonize the Spaniards, but Rizal, with the single-minded devotion to his country and his people, worked harder for the welfare of the native land. In 1891, he finished the second novel, El Filibusterismo, published the same year with the help of Valentin Ventura, who lent him the money necessary to print the book. Remembering the unjust execution of three Filipino priests, Burgos, Gomez, and Zamora, ito yung Gomborsa guys. Rizal dedicated his second novel to their memory, saying, "The charge, by refusing to degrade you, has placed in doubt the crime that has been imputed to you. The government, by surrounding your trials with mystery and shadows, causes the belief that there was some error committed in fatal moments, and the entire Philippines, by worshipping your memory and calling you martyrs, in no sense recognizes your culpability. And so far, therefore, in your complicity in the Cavite mutiny is not clearly proved, as you may or may not have been patriots, and as you may or may not have cherished sentiments for justice and for liberty, I have the right to dedicate my work to you as victims of the evil which I undertake to combat. And while we await that Spain someday shall restore your good name and shall cease to be a party to your death, let these pages serve as a tardy wreath of dried leaves over your unknown tombs, and anyone who without clear proofs attacks your memory stains his hands in your blood." The Philly, in contrast, with the Noli is a political novel in which Rizal predicted the coming of the revolution, yet because he was essentially a man of peace, he made that revolution fail, for he conceived of it only as a peaceful, not an armed revolution. Thus he put in the lips of Father Florentino, the kindly Filipino priest, these significant words: "I do not mean to say that our liberty will be secured at the sword's point, for the sword plays but little part in modern affairs, but that we must secure it by making ourselves worthy of it, by exalting the intelligence and the dignity of the individual, by loving justice, right, and greatness, even to the extent of dying for them. And when a people reaches that height, God will provide a weapon, the idols will be shattered, the tyranny will crumble like a house of cards, and liberty will shine out like the first dawn." Rizal returned to the Philippines for the second time. The first was in 1887, early in 1892, and was promptly arrested and thrown into Fort Santiago. On July 7, 1892, his banishment to the Piton was announced officially. For 4 years, he remained in the Piton, helping his less fortunate countrymen. Ulit guys. For 4 years, he remained in the Piton, helping his less fortunate countrymen, teaching the young boys how to be good citizens, planting fruit trees, doing some business on the side, writing letters, collecting shells, and sending them to his friend Ferdinand Blumentritt in Austria, writing in Tagalog grammar and beautifying the plaza. His life was as it had been in Europe, intense. There was no idle moment. Finally, fed up with his isolation in the Piton, he asked permission from the Governor-General to go to Cuba, enlist as a military doctor. His request was granted, and soon he was on a ship bound for Manila. It was at this critical moment that the revolution flared up. Rizal, not wanting to be involved in the revolt, stayed on the ship to await the arrival of the next steamer for Spain. Tapusin ko lang to guys When finally he left for Spain, he thought that he was already safe from the arm of Spanish law. But before the ship could dock at Barcelona, he was placed under arrest, incarcerated, and returned to the Philippines. He was tried on charges of treason and complicity in the revolution, charges which were absolutely baseless. He was sentenced to die by musketry, and on the early morning of December 30, 1896, he was shot amidst the frenzied shouts of the Spaniards. Bukas na yung La Solidaridad, guys. Bye everyone. God bless.